Hey guys, so this is going to be uncomfortable for me. This is the first time I have ever spoken about this on YouTube or done any kind of video besides news footage of the loss of my little boy. His name was Connor Freed, and in 2006 Connor drowned at a pool, a public pool where there were certified lifeguards present, and he drowned. He drowned 2 weeks after graduating from kindergarten. It was almost like the first day of summer. It was June 22nd, 2006. So this Saturday will be the 13th anniversary that I lost my son. And it is just life-shattering. It has shattered a lot of people in our family. I put on a strong front when I'm out in public. I'm smiling. I'm always happy. I talk about him. I talk about him as much as I can. It helps me to talk about my loss and the struggles that our family has gone through. And I really just hope this video will help other people to understand what our family has gone through. Let me backtrack. So June 22nd, 2006, I am a real estate agent, and I took Connor with me to go write a contract for a client, a family friend of my husband's, and he graciously asked if he could take Connor to the pool while I did the paperwork, and I said it was okay. My motherly intuition said not to do it, and it was nothing against the guardian. It was just me inside. My gut just said, don't let Connor go to the pool. I just wasn't comfortable with the idea of him going to the pool with someone else. Connor had not had formal swimming lessons. However, he did swim. He swam with us a month previous to his drowning incident. He swam with us at Harper's Ferry. He swam in the Chesapeake Bay at my mom's house with her golden retriever. He was a swimmer. But no, he never had formal swimming lessons. And to this day, 13 years later, it's taken me a long time to heal, and mainly for me as his mother, forgiving myself. The guilt that I have felt for 13 years, I have honestly deep down felt like it's my fault that my son is not here, and why am I still alive, and why is my little boy, who was only 5 years old, who had his whole life ahead of him, taken? Why is he gone? Why not me? Why not me, God? Why did you take my little boy? So it's been an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. So anyway, going back to that day, I didn't follow my gut, and I let him go. I let him go for a couple hours to a pool. I remember calling Tom, my husband, and I said that, Connor's gonna go to the pool, and the first question he asked, are there lifeguards there? And I said, well, yes, it's a country club. So that made us feel more comfortable that we were letting him go to a pool where there were lifeguards. He told me to relax, that I was being really paranoid, as I was known to be. It was very out of my character to let him go to a pool with someone besides a grandparent or his mom or his dad. Just that day, everything was just different. My oldest daughter, who's now 28, normally would watch him if I had to show a house or write a contract. She happened to be in Florida, so that's why I took him with me on this appointment. And the last thing we did that day, we went to McDonald's drive-thru, got him a Happy Meal, and I remember going to the Red Box, and we rented SpongeBob SquarePants, the DVD, which I still have that DVD. I remember his very last meal. I remember keeping the receipt taped to it on the box after we lost him, and it was 11:35 a.m. that day that we got his Nugget Happy Meal with his drink. Rented SpongeBob SquarePants. We were going to go home and watch that evening. Well, I never got that evening. We never got that opportunity to watch that movie. And I still can't believe 13 years later that's actually happened. So I called, I let him go to the pool. I told him I loved him. And he told me he loved me too. And I told him to be a good boy. And I called the guardian a couple of times, probably 3 times within a 2-hour period. And he said he was being a great boy to, you know, relax. He was fine. And he said he just ate a hamburger and they had Adult Swim and he put sunscreen on him. He told me he was being a really good boy. I remember driving to the pool to pick him up to surprise him, just to show up there a little bit early. I just wanted to pick him up, and I was in the area and it was a really hot day. So as I was at the light to pick him up, I saw the name of the guardian that I had called a few times calling me. And I answered it, and I couldn't believe what he said. He said, "There's been an accident. Connor has fallen into the pool." And all I remember is my heart. I couldn't breathe. My heart literally was in my throat. Like I thought I was, I don't remember. I was in such a state of shock. I ran the red light. I made a left turn, and I just, within minutes, pulled into the parking lot of the pool. And my little boy was in the back of the ambulance, and they were doing CPR on him. And I just remember them telling me that I had to ride in the ambulance behind him, that I would be in the way, that there was 3 people working on him. So I just remember calling my mom, and I guess I was screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, Connor drowned, Connor drowned." I just was in such a state of shock. And I don't know how, but my mother got to the hospital before me. My husband was at the hospital before me. They opened up the ambulance doors, and they were still doing CPR on him, which is not a good sign now that I know everything that I know about drowning. And I remember Tom just falling to the ground, because I think deep down we all knew that it wasn't good. And if he did make it, he wasn't going to be the same again, that he would most likely have brain damage because he was still unconscious and too much time had gone by. So anyway, that was just the absolute worst day of our lives. I remember feeling like I wanted to die, and I started taking prescription medications. I was put on Ambien and Xanax, and I had never taken a pill before in my life except for a headache, and just kind of like numbed the pain and got me through. But anyway, when I kind of came out of that fog for a while, I started Googling drowning statistics, and I could not believe the statistic rates for childhood drowning. And that's when we decided we're going to do something. Well, I said, I'm going to do something. I will do something for you, Connor. I am going to honor your life. You will live on. Your legacy will live on. We're going to save lives. We have to do something, because 10 people a day will lose their life to a drowning-related incident. And to this day, leading cause of accidental death were for children ages 1 to 4. Unfortunately, 13 years later, it's higher. It's worse. And my child drowned underneath a lifeguard chair, an empty lifeguard chair, at a public pool where there were certified lifeguards present. And 19% of drownings occur at public pools with certified lifeguards present. That's a big problem to me. Yes, most of them happen in your own backyard pool, But more importantly, it is a silent killer. It happens within minutes. It just takes 30 seconds to turn your head. The best swimmers can drown, but it's so important to get your child in swimming lessons, let them learn how to swim. All the precautions that we can take. On the day that Connor drowned, a patron of the pool did CPR on my little boy, and he threw up, and they cleared his lungs of water, and he was on the pool deck, from what I was told, or we know that he was on the pool deck, and at that point he went into cardiac arrest. Someone from the pool called 911, and the 911 operator said, "Is there a defibrillator there?" And they said yes, but we're not allowed to use it. And the 911 operator said, "You're not allowed to use it." She was shocked. You could hear the shock in her voice. And I heard this 911 call on the news a couple days after he drowned, and it was horrific to hear that on the news. So that's where Connor's Law comes into play. So for 5 years, I fought for Connor's Law for the state of Maryland, where I still reside, and it passed. It took 5 years, but I work with Maryland legislators, and I did not give up. I am on a mission, and Connor's Law passed in the state of Maryland. And what that law means, it requires every public pool in the state of Maryland to have AEDs on site and trained personnel. So lifeguards are now, through the American Red Cross, they're not only just CPR certified now, they're now trained how to use AEDs. This will save lives. It will reduce, hopefully, the number of drownings. I just feel like, unfortunately, in our state, we only have a few months of pool weather, so childhood drowning does not get the attention that it needs and deserves. A lot of parents are not aware of these statistics, and I never thought it would happen to me. I never thought I'd bury my son. It's awful. There are no words. It is a pain that stays with you until your last days. You have a hole in your heart, and you learn to live with that hole. I am very blessed as well. I have a 28-year-old daughter, and I have an 11-year-old little girl, Emma, who just graduated from the 5th grade, and I have a great family, a great support system. And I just really want to get the message out there to parents and to other families that have gone through this, that we can all work together and it's preventable. And I feel like if we all share our stories of what happened to our children, that we can together reduce these statistics, because drowning is so preventable. And I hear so many times people say, "Where were the parents? Where were the parents?" Well, that's so easy to say unless you're that parent, because it can happen to any parent. Any parent. Just takes seconds, 30 seconds, you turn your head and your child could be in the pool, and that quickly they could be floating, and you could be doing CPR on your own child. And it's happening. It has happened to a couple celebrities recently. A year ago, Bodie Miller and his wife lost their beautiful daughter to a drowning incident. 2 weeks ago, a country singer lost his little boy, River, to a drowning in their backyard pool. And it's life shattering. It just, your heart is broken. There are no words. There is no words of how someone feels when you have to bury your child. And people will come up and they'll say to you, it was their time, they're in a better place. People don't know what to say to you. They just say things that they think you want to hear that will make you feel better. Or you need to forgive yourself, Debbie, it wasn't your fault. Well, they're not me, and they don't know how my heart feels. I pray all the time. I do know that my son is in heaven, but that doesn't make my pain feel any less. I just have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions for God, and I am not afraid to die. I know that when I do die, that I will be reunited, and I know that he's always going to be my 5-year-old little angel in heaven. And that does give me peace. I hold on to that. I hold on to that deeply in my heart. But I really feel like my mission and the reason why I was put on this earth is to bring awareness to childhood drowning. I feel like that is why I'm here now. What I really want to see happen is to see Connor's Law nationally. I want Connor's Law to be a national law, as it should be. AEDs are everywhere. You see them in airports, they're in the malls, they're in grocery stores. Anywhere you go, you're going to see an AED, and you're going to see AEDs because they save lives. Within less than a week of Connor's Law passing in Maryland, it was utilized on a little boy who was visiting the pool that I grew up at. There was a little boy there. He was at a birthday party, and his body was found in the bottom of the diving well, 13 feet of water. They did put the AED on, and ironically, before Connor's Law was even a law, that was the first pool that Connor Cares Foundation donated an AED to, because that was a pool that I grew up at as a child. And they put it on the child, and his heart didn't need shocked, but he survived. He survived because it was quick actions. Thank God for the off-duty nurse that happened to be at the pool that day, who did CPR on him, and it was done quick enough where he didn't need his heart shocked, but the device was there and it was utilized within a week of the law passing. It's just absolutely crazy how things work out. And like I said, I had donated this AED before it was even a law. So now it is a law, and every pool, as I said before, every public pool in the state of Maryland must have an AED. And more importantly, trained personnel. Connor was just a blessing. He was brought into our lives. He was here for a really short time. He was an awesome child. He loved baseball. He loved riding his bike more than anything in the world, and he called baseball Bucky. He wanted to be a pitcher. My brother is a retired Major League Baseball pitcher, and he wanted to be just as good as him, and he was practicing his little heart out shortly before we lost him. But he was just a very well-behaved, awesome kid who brought so much joy to so many people. And it was just, it's a tragedy, and we can't change things. You have to go on. You got to stay strong. And I just wanted to make this video to reach out to other families, everybody who has lost a child. And if we can get our message out there and draw national attention to this epidemic of childhood drowning, we can change these statistics. We can do it together. I will honor my son for the rest of my life. It's still so hard to believe. I don't know where these last 13 years have gone. I know that my 11-year-old daughter keeps me very busy. I know I'm very blessed. I have a hole in my heart for sure. I'm always going to have an empty place in my heart. It's just not the way it's supposed to go. You never think you're going to have to bury your child. It's just not the order that it's supposed to be. We should die before our children. I hope this helps. I hope this helps other parents become aware and just be cautious. Get your kids to swim lessons. Make sure that there's a fence around your pool. Make sure you know how to do CPR. Make sure they're in your sight at all times, or in a guardian's sight, because it takes 3 minutes. 3 minutes is the difference between life and death, and drowning is a silent killer, and it happens so fast. That's all I wanted to say for now, and thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. Let's save lives. Our children do not need to drown. But it can happen. It happens, and it happens so fast. It's a tragedy, but we can turn our tragedy into something great, and his legacy will live on through Connor's Law. And we're saving lives. We're saving lives already. So thanks again for listening. I hope this helps. I hope this was informative.
I wanna like from Linda and wait for me to break up. Dropping from Mary's low. Home PlayStation, why gotta go? And hard to be a broken, I shined it. And come back, free backs, alright, then.
Look at that corner.
I'm running how
You see the blue and the gray.
alright, down.